Hi there, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to effectively permanently restore your headlights. These headlights were repaired about a year ago with a commercial kit, and it actually had some spots up in here that the clear coat was peeling or had actually chipped off in several sections. So first step in all of this, you'll want to tape off around the paint so you are not sanding into any areas that should not be sanded. And then this has already been prepped and sanded with 400 grit sandpaper, and then up to 1,000 grit sandpaper, and then 1,500 grit sandpaper, and the 1,000 and 1,500 were done wet sanding. And I'm going to take you up from 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and then 5,000. So you'll see kind of the last steps here, because this part I know for a lot of people is kind of daunting, and they go, I messed this up beyond repair. And once you see the other parts, I think you'll be surprised at how good the clarity comes back, because you're just going to be knocking down some of these high spots here that you've scratched up and put scratches into the headlight here, and we'll take a bunch of those out with these other steps. So 1,500, next step is 2,000. So just by the way, all of these materials I picked up at AutoZone. You can pick them up at most car supply stores here, but this one was just local. So all the things, including this little tool that comes in this pack down there, comes with 400, 1,000, 1,500 grit sandpaper, and then I bought the 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, which is a pad, and then the sanding pad, the 5,000 there, all came in separate. But here we go with the 2,000 grit. All right, for these stages, all of it's going to be wet sanded, so we want to make sure that we spray this down really good. This was just a bottle that I had laying around the shop here, and filled it up with water so I could do that really easily. And then I ripped off a piece that was slightly bigger than my little sanding block here. I'm going to wet that down as well, and then go to town on this with 2,000. All right, this is 2,000. We're just knocking down the tops of the scratches that we've laid in here. So I'm taking long, straight strokes on this, and the gray stuff that you're seeing are those hills of the scratches that we're taking down ever so slowly on this. So just real lightly here with that 2,000. To get that all done. So I'm going to spray this down. That looks amazing already compared to even the 1,500. So I'm going to spray this down, wipe it down, and then do the 2,500. All right, so I wet this back down, and now this is the 2,500 grit. Again, just knocking down those hills that were created by the scratches that we put into this. Alright, I'm going to spray this down, wipe it down, and do one more of the 2,500 since I picked up a lot of the particulate there. We don't want to be grinding that back into the headlight as much as possible. So I'm going to do one more of this. We'll do 3,000 and then 5,000. We'll restore a lot of the clarity back to this headlight. Okay, this is right after doing that second pass with the 2,500. You can tell that we're starting to really improve the clarity here. Let's spread this down one more time, and I've already wet down my 3,000 grit sanding pad then to do this pass. So again, the huge difference when we start bumping up here to these higher grits. In every pass that I've been doing here, I'll take an alternate way that I'm sanding. So this time I'm kind of a diagonal pattern here. So I'm not going in the same direction. So if I was going this direction, I might go this direction the next time, then maybe across, in order to be able to knock down those hills there even more efficiently. So you can see that this is really cleaning up really well. And I'm going really light. You don't have to press heavy into this here to get the job done. Alright, I'll spray that down, wipe it down, and then we'll move on to the 5000 grit and go from there. Okay, this is wiped down after the 3000. I'm going to spray this down again. And then move on to the 5000 grit pad. Alright, this time I'm going to go and up and down motion, since I went in kind of a diagonal last time. And again, not a lot of pressure, just knocking down the hills. And you'd think, even with the 1500 grit that I had done, that it would have gotten it close to this, but I've seen other people try to do this headlight restoration and they kind of leave it right around 1500. They don't even bump up to 2000, but you saw even at 2000 it wasn't anywhere close to this. Alright, so that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to spray this down and then I'll wipe it down with some alcohol, and that will prep this up then in order to move to the next stage, which will be taping this completely off so we can spray it with the clear UV enamel, and why we're doing that. Okay, for this next step, I haven't prepped this with the alcohol yet, so this is what I'm using. I'm using a denatured alcohol, and as you can see on there, if it focuses, it's a glass cleaner. So why are we using alcohol? One, because it's going to dry the surface faster, and we need a completely dry surface in order to be able to then do the paint or the clear coat over this. And we want to remove any little bit of residue, you can see it, that has been left on these. Even by spraying it down multiple times with water, it still leaves just a little bit behind. So I'm taking another microfiber towel. This is a different one than I was using before to wipe. So this one's clean, in order to be able to wipe that down. And this is still going to dry to a haze on here, but you can see once we apply that clear, these headlights are going to be amazing once they're taken care of. So that's going to dry. That's the left hand side of the driver's side. This is one that I've already done and prepped here with all of that. And now next stage is prepping this so we can spray these down in multiple coats and letting it dry. Okay, so now we've taped off the hood of the car to mask it off, including directly over the headlights, pulling it as taut as possible. I've created a small little hole right above the headlight, and I'm going to cut that out slightly larger than the headlight itself. So then we just tape the existing tape so it stays in place and masks off the light from the rest of the body of the car. Alright, both sides are now masked off in order to be able to coat the headlights in the gloss clear. And I'm using a Rust-Oleum product. This I picked up at Home Depot. It adheres to plastic, which is important, and it also does not yellow. It is made for outdoor and is UV resistant. I think a can of this costs maybe $4 at Home Depot. But the thing to watch out for with this when you are painting is that it will run, and it has xylene and toluene in it. That would focus there too. And if you spray it out too thick, you'll get these little fish eyes in your finish, and you can get those out, but they're a major pain. So ultra light coats as you're doing this. I'm going to be waiting at 20 minutes in between in terms of a second coat time. And here we go. We're going to do some ultra light coats on here in order to make sure we get a nice finish. One thing else to note that it is rather cold outside. My shop is maybe 70 degrees now. I have 2 heaters going inside of here, and I'm going to be exhausting as I'm painting. I'm also wearing a mask, so I'm not fuming myself out, but I'll show you one of these paints. So here we go. Very, very light misting coat. And that's it. I'm going to let that sit for 20 minutes, and I will come back and do a second coat on both lenses. So this is after coat 2, and coat 2 is starting to dry. You can see there are those little fish eyes that happen in this particular coat. Now those may flatten out as this coat attempts to dry. However, my guess is they probably won't. This clear coat is notorious for doing this. So most likely what we're going to have to do with this is let this cure for 24 hours after all of the coats that I put on here this evening, and then go back over this and wet sand it and take down some of the layers in order to be able to pull out those hills and valleys out of this paint. But it also may be that there's too much moisture in there. It may also be that it's too cool inside of my shop here in order to be able to do this properly without getting that. But like I said, this clear gloss is notorious for doing this, and I don't think I've had a single project that has been completely without it. And again, this discourages most people, and then they just kind of throw in the towel right about here. But you have to work through it, and these will look amazing after we're done. So we'll do probably 3, 4, and 5 coats tonight. Let that sit for 24 hours, cure as much as it can to the plastic headlight, and then we will go back in with 3000 and that 5000 grit pad and polish these out, and then probably buff these out then with some polishing compound as well before finishing these. So this is the passenger side front headlight after coat 3. Let's see, some of those fish eyes have started to hold themselves out. There's still some inside. Again, I've had this where overnight they'll just start laying themselves flat and evening this out. But this is coat 3, and I will do a 4th coat and then a 5th coat. Let this dry completely overnight, and then see what we have to do to make these completely perfect here going forward. So, coat 3. Alright, this is the 5th and final coat for tonight, and they seem to be looking pretty good. Still little dimples in there a little bit, but quite a bit better, as you can see from where we started on this. So tuck this in for the night, let her dry overnight, and come back to it tomorrow and see where we're at in terms of polishing the headlights out. Okay, welcome to day 2. This is the headlights overnight. Dry. After the 5 coats of the clear gloss. So the next step, there's still a couple of spots in here that have a little bit of the orange peel texture, so I'm going to go in with some high grit sandpaper pads and tackle those and see if I can knock that down and make this perfectly smooth. Alright, so this knocked down all of those little ridges and everything. As you can see, it looks now hazy again because what happened? We introduced some scratches into this. So we're going to compound and then polish these headlights out. I'm using a Meguiar's product. This Ultimate Compound works really well. That will focus. And going over these then. So I did the 3000 grit very, very lightly, and then 5000 grit over these with the 2 pads. And now I'll be compounding and then polishing these headlights out, and they'll look amazing. So this is right after using the compound. You can see just how much clarity it's brought back to these headlights. And so that's passenger side, this is the driver's side. I will do one more step, which is a polishing step using a Meguiar's polishing compound, and then we will seal these with a good wax, and then they will be good to go. These are with the polished headlights. Now using that polishing compound. This is the passenger side, and this is the driver's side. So now we're going to put some sealant on these so they remain nice, because as you're driving, you're just going to pick up road debris and other dust and whatnot that are going to scratch these up again. So let's put a protective layer on there so it will help as a preventative to that, to keep these looking as nice as possible for as long as possible. Alright, these are the 2 products that I'm using for sealing the headlights. The one on the left is a Meguiar's product, NXT Tech Wax 2.0. This will really get into all the fine scratches and whatnot, fill those in, and you put that on with an applicator, wipe it off with a microfiber towel lightly. You want that to fill in all of the micro scratches that are still left. Second is the Meguiar's Paint Protect. This has a curing time of 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to leave it on for 5 minutes and then you buff it off. Again, this is supposed to actually last a full year of washes here with a layer in order to keep it protected. So we're going to let those cure, polish them out one last time, and then take off all of the masking and then see the results. Okay, so this is the final step. This is after almost a month of them being repaired. You can see how crystal clear these lenses are. This is the passenger side lens. Going over to the driver's side lens. There. Absolutely perfect. And this is after a month of driving with them on a daily basis. So here's what they both look like pulled out on the vehicle. Hope you enjoy. Thanks.